Quebec's Separatist Party is taking shots at the monarchy once again, and a prominent federalist is saying English-speaking Quebecers might want to think twice before voting Liberal. With more on the Quebec election, we're joined by Liberal strategist Lisa Kirby in studio. Thank you, Lisa, for coming in.
You're very welcome.
I want to start with these comments by Pauline Marois. They are certainly making headlines, and yet they're not really terribly surprising coming from Pauline Marois.
That's correct. We're in an election where it's neck and neck, right? The PQ and the Liberals, they're fighting for every percentage point they're getting. So it's not surprising that she'd kind of throw this out in the middle of an election to try to generate some support for her party. It's not going to work.
Okay, so elaborate on that if you can. I mean, she's really playing to her base here. So what's not going to work about this?
But that's the problem, right? She's playing to her base. She already has that support shored up. We saw that in the Ontario election last fall, where Hudak was doing a few things that was playing to his base, but it didn't gain him any votes. And we're doing the exact same thing here. And let's face it, a lot of Canadians like the monarchy. A lot of Quebecers like the monarchy. The Prime Minister likes the monarchy. And it's just not going to gain any traction. We're in an election where the voters want to talk about jobs and the economy, and all of a sudden she throws the monarchy under the bus. It doesn't make any sense.
You know, and interesting that you bring up the economy. You're right, no doubt. Top of mind in Ontario, as you mentioned, Hudak. Top of mind in Quebec, across Canada, in the United States where there's an election. We're talking jobs, we're talking dollars and cents and our bottom line. And yet it seems like we haven't heard about the economy at all since this election was kicked off.
Well, I think Premier Charest is talking about it. He's announced a few things that would definitely help families. He's working toward jobs. I have 2 kids of my own, and I know how much I've spent over the years for school supplies. Premier Charest is offering $100 every year to put kids back to school. I think this is a great thing. He is talking about jobs. He's talking about families.
He has no choice, though, because what is he going to talk about? His record of corruption in government?
He doesn't have a record of corruption in government. Everyone can talk about all these things until they're blue in the face. I don't think it moves voters. So what we have are things, like Marois trying to move voters with the monarchy. That's not going to work. They're all moving away from what the real issues are, and that's jobs and families and the economy. And no one wants to talk about it. And when I see parties not wanting to talk about it, it's because I don't think they have anything to offer on it.
So Lisa, what do you make then of the Coalition Avenir Québec, which is this new kid on the block proposing to really take out corruption? That's what it's been. Its main platform is fighting corruption in Quebec. They've said it time and time again. They have Jacques Duchesneau, who is well known as the Tsar, the anti-corruption Tsar, and it's Star as well, actually, in Watchdog. So do you think that it's just a moot point then?
Well, we've all seen star candidates get put up there and we trot them out and we think they're going to do fantastic things for us, and ultimately they end up crumbling over the spotlight. We saw it just a few days ago where Duchesneau came out and he started talking about him being a super minister. Like, is he going to put on a cape and go out there and take care of Quebec's problems?
He's certainly not polished. I think we'd agree on that one.
It goes beyond not being polished. He went out there and suggested that he has more power than his leader. It's a huge problem, and I think we saw that with the backpedaling, and Duchesneau is trying to change the channel.
I want to ask you about Anglophones in Quebec, English speakers who feel at this point, I mean, I don't want to talk for all of them, but we've heard that there are, few options, that they look at the Liberals. First of all, they're hardly even going out to vote anymore because there are no options. What do you make of that? And that's coming from Robert Libman. He's a prominent English-speaking Quebecer. He's a former MNA, and he's now saying, hey, consider the CAQ then if you feel like the Liberals aren't the viable option here.
Well, I don't really think that English-speaking Quebecers want to take lessons from Robert Libman. He was criticizing Charest for going out and encouraging people to vote. He did the same thing. He just was upset with the fact that Charest wanted people to vote Liberal. So he's suggesting people go vote for the other party, and it's not a good argument. We want people to vote. He's just upset because it doesn't look like they're going to win. And
I wonder how Pauline Marois was going to deal with this as well, because if all of these votes that would have gone to Liberals, not all of them, if some are going to bleed to this new party out of interest, out of fighting possibly corruption in Quebec, because that is their platform, do you think Marois was a little nervous about that?
I think she should be a little nervous about that. I think we're seeing that. I mean, this is what the monarchy thing is all about, right? So we have the CAQ, and they're now saying they're never going to revisit independence again. Yet we have a lot of people suggesting that Legault is like this closet sovereigntist, and no one knows which way is up with the CAQ. And it will come down to the Liberals and the PQ, but Marois is not doing herself any favors. I predict we're going to see a Liberal government.
Well, we shall see. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
It's Liberal strategist Lisa Kirby joining us in studio.